Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and we are back with some more Loki, episode 5 this week, episode 5 of season 1. Last time, we had the Nexus event, and we had a lot of stuff going on. We had a lot of stuff. We had the TVA pretty much being exposed, um, and Mobius being a part of that. Mobius actually discovering the truth about himself and pretty much everyone else who worked at the TVA, and also maybe even a bit of truth behind Ravonna as well. He actually managed to switch up 10 pads and found the interrogation file for Hunter C20, even Hunter C20. And through the enchantment, she actually found out that she was a variant because she had a life on Earth before the TVA actually took her in. So yeah, and I think a theory I've heard is that it's rather like the first variants that the timekeepers themselves actually captured were then actually were then employed, but then any variants after the whole creation of the TVA, they either kept in their own custody or they pruned. Because now we know the truth behind pruning too. Pruning does not mean death. Pruning does not mean death. Pruning is rather more like a teleportation thing, where they actually teleport you to an alternate timeline. And I think Loki got pruned at the very end. And seeing it happen to Mobius got pruned before him. Seeing it happen to Mobius kind of did signify death just a little bit, but then seeing it happen to Loki as well, it was like maybe this isn't as deadly as it actually looks or seems and everything. So yeah, for Loki, he got transported to like an alternate New York. We know it was New York because the Avengers Tower was destroyed, but in the background, it was in the background, so we know it was New York. And he met other hymns. He met other variants. He met technically four other variants. One Kid Loki, one Richard E. Grant, and then one as like a more classic kind of horned Loki, and then one other guy with like a Mjolnir, like another variation of Mjolnir. And then there was the Alligator Loki too. The Alligator Loki has picked up some hype, so it has picked up some hype among the fan base and everything. So people are already rooting for Alligator Loki, and I think one thing someone pointed out was that every variant is also made before they're pruned. They're also like 9 times out of 10 they're also made to actually stand trial for their crimes. So technically speaking, the TVA actually made like an alligator. Like somehow an alligator became a variant. An alligator. I mean, because yeah, I think with the alligator Loki, you kind of have to wonder, like, is it like a human looking Loki that shapeshifted into an alligator, or is it like an actual alligator Loki to begin with? Like, does it come from some kind of timeline where Asgardians and Jotuns and everyone is just like an alligator or something? So that was the question at hand. So I think I really hope that it is actually like an alligator at heart, and that it doesn't actually. Like its true form is an alligator, but it can shapeshift into a human if it wants to. But I really hope that is like actually like an alligator version of Loki. Maybe it can talk. Maybe it can actually talk. Because I mean, it would not be the first time we've had talking animals in the MCU. So that would not be a first. But yeah, I'm hoping it's an alligator that can maybe talk, or maybe it's like it works. It works in the same way as Groot, where it growls, but then people understand that as actual kind of language and everything. So yeah, but there's an alligator Loki too. So like he met all the other variants of him. He met other Loki variants that were presumably pruned the same way he was. So yeah, we had all that stuff going on, and yeah, the TVA was uncovered, so everyone found. I mean, well, Mobius and C20 and B15 too. B15, she actually freed Sylvie and actually took her back to Roxcart so that Sylvie could show her what her true life was like before. So she found out she was a variant too, and she helped them fight back. And then so yeah, so I think now and the timekeepers too. The timekeepers were revealed to not be as real as they seemed. Like, I mean, the timekeepers we met, at least, the timekeepers we met were kind of like droids. They were like androids and stuff. So yeah, I mean, so then it raises the question: are the timekeepers actually fake, or because I'm still kind of like hanging on to the theory that because the timekeepers themselves are celestials, like it's like they exist in a way that even humanoid beings can't really comprehend properly. So maybe because of that, like they use the droids maybe as a decoy, maybe as an actual cover, or maybe they actually use them to pass their kind of communication through and use them as a conduit of some kind. So I don't know, but I'm still hanging on to the theory that the timekeepers are out there somewhere, and because they still need taking down, or at least they still need like some form of actual kind of destabilization in order for the new timekeepers to be brought in. So there's a lot of stuff that's happened, but there's also a lot of stuff that needs to happen. So yeah, we had all that stuff. We had Sif. We had a sweet little like a time loop cameo of Lady Sif. Loki was as punishment for his crimes. Loki was actually sent into like his own kind of time loop thing where he actually played a prank on Sif on Asgard. So he was meant to live through a loop of her kneeing him in the nards and then punching him in the face and dropping him and everything. So it was cool to see Lady Sif back. It was really cool to see Lady Sif back. And I think Jamie Alexander has actually confirmed she is indeed on set for Thor 4 Love and Thunder. So she is returning. Lady Sif is returning. So that is awesome news at its heart. So yeah, so then the only ones left in the realm of the realm of the Timekeepers are Sylvie and Ravonna. So Sylvie needs answers and she's gonna hopefully get them. And then Loki is gonna need to probably escape from here and find a way back to the TVA and uncover even more of the truth. So it should be a fun time. It should be a very, very fun time. But yeah, this week as a whole, this week too, is also a big week for Marvel because we get Loki today, and then on the 9th of July on Friday, we get Black Widow. We get the Black Widow movie after years of waiting. After a year and a half of waiting, we get the Black Widow movie. So yeah, it's been a while. I guess you can still say years because even before it was announced, people were waiting for that movie to be made and to come out. So it can still be counted as years. So yeah, so I will definitely be doing a movie reaction for Black Widow from Disney Plus. So you can keep an eye out for that, and that will be an absolute blast. But yeah, so that is just something I wanted to add as a little bit of a side note. So yeah, on to Loki. So we'll see exactly what he gets up to with these variants and what this place is and what this timeline is, and see if it actually is. Because I think the timeline itself still exists as something pre-existing to the sacred timeline. Maybe just something that's still left out there, but time locked to the pruning. So we'll find out. We'll find out exactly what it is, but. Yeah, that is pretty much all I've got from the last one. So on to episode 5 of Loki, on to the reaction. And as always, this reaction will just be the best bits and pretty much the highlights of the episode. But if you guys want to catch any reactions that don't make it into this cut, then those reactions will be in the full-length version over on Patreon. So you can catch that one over there, and that will be just as cool. So yeah, without further ado, on to Loki, episode 5. Let's go. This is New York, destroyed New York. Definitely looks like it, yeah. It reminds me of The Last of Us Part 2, yeah, like that whole kind of post-apocalyptic kind of scenery. Pirate ship. Is that a flying saucer? Is that a flying saucer? Is that a flying saucer?
Will someone please explain to me what the hell is going on? Look, it's been a very, very, very trying past few days. You're telling me that thing's a Loki too?
Yes, a Loki.
Okay, fine. Willing to accept that. Why there's so many?
He's willing to accept one of him. It's an animal.
All of us were arrested.
I killed Thor.
Oh, the kid killed Thor. The kid killed Thor. Kid Loki killed Thor. Oh boy. Okay, well, is that Yellow Jacket's helmet? That looked like Yellow Jacket's helmet, like, enlarged. Yeah. Thanos copter! That's the Thanos copter! That's the Thanos copter! They actually have a Thanos copter! Yeah. Okay, there's so much going on. There is so much. They're showing us right now. There is so much.
It could conceivably take us to the end of time.
Find Loki.
Find the man behind the curtain.
And kill him.
Together.
That's a very quick partnership.
Any second now.
Go, go, go!
Oh, she was stalling. She was stalling. Yeah, she was stalling. Okay. No partnership then. No. Oh, she's gonna throw the spear. She's gonna throw the spear. Oh. Oh, she's pruning. Oh, she pruned herself. Okay. She pruned herself. So she's gonna get sent to the same void, the same New York void that Loki's at?
After I vanquished Captain America and Iron Man, I claimed my prize. All 6 Infinity Stones.
I'm sorry, what? He killed Cap and Iron Man?
Drowning.
Oh my god, oh. Oh god. Oh jeez, he's a feisty one.
Everything proceeded correctly my entire life until Thanos attacked our ship.
Yeah.
You didn't try to stab him.
With a butter knife. Nah.
Take no
Yeah.
offense, my friends.
Dumbass
The
plan.
blades are worthless in the face of a Loki sorcery. I cast a projection of myself, so real, even the mad Titan believed it.
Okay.
Removed myself from the equation. Landed on a remote planet and stayed there in isolation,
Ah.
in solitude. But as soon as I took my first steps to getting off the planet, the
The
TVA
TVA
arrived.
came through. That was the Nexus. He was never meant
Because
to
we,
go.
my friends, have but one part to play.
Yeah. So how did the Gator become a Loki? A thingy? Then? Oh, the wrong neighbor's cat. I think he said the wrong neighbor's cat.
Our display at TVA. Have any of you met a woman variant of us?
Sounds terrifying.
Oh, she is. That's kind of what's great about her.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
She's different.
Whoa! President Loki! There's another Tom Hiddleston Loki!
This is a
The
nightmare.
President Loki! Golden Gate Bridge. That's Goliath. Whoa. Like a deadly mushroom cloud. Oh boy. Okay. Who the hell is a cab driver in the void? Mobius! Oh, it's Mobius. Okay, it's Mobius. So Mobius is now a void cab driver.
How'd you really are one of you? Hang on. What did you expect?
Not the bargain. I gave you
That was
our
a
location.
bargain?
In exchange for shelter and supplies, you give me your army and I take the throne.
Yeah, about that.
Oh boy. Okay, yeah, it's just
Beef-witted, half-faced scrub.
Loki's betraying each other. How is this surprising? How is this surprising at all? Can no one accept the it was on the No, Loki ate his own hand. So these guys all Lokis? These are all Lokis. Oh, good lord.
I did what I had to do.
Yeah, so did I.
You hunted me like a dog.
Sorry about that.
And turn around.
Turn around? What, to the angry cloud?
Yeah. I think it might be the answer.
Like getting pruned was the answer to getting here, and being taken by Goliath is the answer to the timekeepers.
See? He's on board.
He's praying. Thinks we're going to die.
Oh boy, oh. Whoa, the USS Eldridge. The Eldridge. They just got pruned. Oh, wow. Full on disintegration. Jesus. Yeah. Oh, and he turned. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. That was quick.
Us as an alligator.
Yeah.
It's best not to question.
Yeah, just go with
rock out here, you little
it.
So you're all after the giant cloud monster too, then?
Killing the timekeepers. But they turned out to be fake in case you forgot. So she'll be searching for whomever created them. You only want it.
She needs it.
She needs it.
Whoever created this place is in danger. I need to find them.
Okay. Right away.
Whoever
mate.
created the place is in danger, okay. So she's gonna protect whoever did it then. She's gonna find out who did it and she's gonna protect them from Sylvie. God damn it.
I mean, TVA had arrested a lot of Lokis, but no, I don't remember an alligator.
You'd remember an
Say
alligator.
he's even a Loki variant.
Yeah, you'd remember an alligator.
He's green, isn't he?
I could be lying.
So just like that, you're turning on the very thing you devoted your life to.
It's never too late to change.
Oh, they're gonna share. They're gonna share a blanket. Oh.
Conjure one for you if you like.
Total rubbish, right?
Absolutely, of course. I mean,
I don't mean that it wasn't, a nice moment.
no, it was great. It was really nice. It was great.
It just sounds like another TVA lie.
100%.
Oh yeah, sharing the blanket, sharing the blanket, sharing the blanket. Aww. Oh, that's so cute.
Was it a tablecloth?
No, it's a blanket.
Doesn't look like one. Doesn't look fluffy enough to be a blanket. Oh, this is so heartwarming. This is so cute. Yeah.
Because if we make it and the TVA's gone, there might be a timeline for you to rule.
And then I'd finally be happy. What about you? What will you do when this is all over?
Go back to playing with Valkyrie.
I don't know.
Oh, that's the other ship. That's Ronan's ship. Yeah, that's Ronan's ship. Yeah. Please let Gator Loki survive all of this. Please let Gator Loki survive this.
Loki, you're gonna need this on your journey.
A dagger. Perhaps like a sword in his hands, yeah. Yeah. Oh, he has a harness and everything. Yeah, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. So long, Gator Loki. Yeah.
What will you do at the TVA? Burn it to the ground. Thanks for the spark. Well,
handshake, make it a hug. Make it a hug. Hug him. Hug it out. Hug it out. Just hug it out.
thank you, my friend. You're my favorite.
Please don't let that be the last time they see each other. That was a goodbye, but still, don't make that the last time they see each other. Come on. I don't need that level of emotion. That's her life. Just a great big, what, like a cloud dragon, a cloud dinosaur. Looks like a dinosaur skull. Oh, a fire sword, a flaming sword. A flaming sword, okay. Whoa. Oh, Loki. He's building an entire city. Asgard, he's building Asgard. He's projecting Asgard.
I think we're stronger than we realize.
Yeah, stronger together. Stronger together too. Yeah, he's projecting Asgard. Yeah, that is so cool. You can't destroy this. You can't destroy what doesn't exist. You can't destroy what doesn't exist. Oh, he's moving it. He's transferring it. He's moving around. There we go. Loki's unlocking enchantment. Level 30. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, classic Loki's gonna die, isn't he? Classic Loki's gonna be taken away. Oh, it's been a real one. It's been real. Oh, R.I.P. Classic Loki. R.I.P. Oh, god damn it. Oh, okay. Oh, a gateway. Oh, okay. Huh. That's where whoever's behind the TVA is. Timekeepers or not, that's where the real threat lies. Damn. Is that the end? That's the end of it. Oh my god. Okay, next week has to be the finale then. Next week has got to be the finale. Next week has got to be the finale. Is there a post-credit to this? Is there a post-credit to this? I don't think so. No post-credits. No post-credits. Okay, yeah, next week is the finale. Yeah, next week is the finale. God damn. God damn. Okay, yeah, that episode was insanity. That episode was insanity. And yeah, so next week is definitely the finale. So 6 episodes, a 6-episode series, going pretty strong. And I think the Falcon and Winter Soldier ran that way too. So yeah, all these kind of short run, limited kind of run series are just doing extremely well, just really executing the story in a really nice, like precise and compact kind of way. So yeah, let's talk about like the Lokis and the variants and the end of time. So yeah, so I think there's only one place any pruned variants go to, and that's called the Void. That's the Void. That is the end of time, the ultimate timeline at the end of time. And I think it also seems eerily like one timeline. Like at least location-wise, it seems like New York. Because I highly doubt that there's actually like a variant city of New York that just gets pruned and sent there. So it's like timeline-wise, it is a version of New York with the Avengers Tower that then gets destroyed and stuff, and then maybe that that could then be like another variation of an Avengers timeline that's then that actually predates the Sacred Timeline. So then because that's then what happened. So yeah, I mean, that then makes me wonder, right? Could the multiverse of madness already happened once? Because maybe the multiverse of madness we're getting is the second time that the multiverse opens up. So the first time there was a multiverse of madness, like the first multiverse of madness was the multiversal war. That was the actual that was the first one. So then that version happened where that was a version that predated the sacred timeline. So then that was like one where maybe like one variation of the Avengers, or maybe still multiple, but like story wise, one kind of initiation of the Avengers existed, and then they fought, and they maybe fought in the multiversal war too. So then that's why there's like an Avengers Tower. So then that timeline is from another timeline predating the sacred one, but then it's one that's already technically been part of one multiverse of madness, and the one we're getting now is the new one that once again threatens a multiversal war. So yeah, okay, so that would make sense. But it is at the end of time. It is at the very end of time. So that's cool. But yeah, so we have Kid Loki. We have Kid Loki, who's a king. He's not technically a king, he actually rules that he rules this new kind of timeline and everything. So that happened, and he killed Thor. His next event was that he killed Thor. So a Kid Loki killing Thor. I mean, honestly, it flashes me back to it takes me back to Thor Ragnarok, like Thor's story about how when they were kids one time, like Loki transformed into a snake because he knew the snake story where Loki transforms into a snake and then transforms back and stabs him. So then I wonder, like, is this basically that? But instead, this time he actually stabs him in like a much more lethal way. He actually stabs him clean. Because back then I imagined that he must have stabbed him in the arm or in the stomach or the chest, or like in a way that he didn't die, like he still healed up and everything. But then with this one, apparently this Loki was far more murderous. So then he literally just stabbed him in the face or something and just ended up killing him. So I'm wondering if that's how it actually went down, especially as he's a Kid Loki too. Then that would also make sense. That was his nexus. He was never meant to kill Thor. Thor isn't really meant to die. He's meant to live on after that, become an Avenger, and go through all this stuff. So that was his nexus event. So then he, as a kid, he was made to stand trial for having killed his brother and caused a disturbance in the Time Force and everything. So that was cool. And then we had the classic Loki, played by Richard E. Grant, who was great. He was so good in this episode, especially like power-wise in the end. Like his powers in the end, just see he was so good. But he was arguably the most interesting one of them all, and I think it funnier and also more interesting because like the way he survived is the way that you would think that the Loki, that Tom Hiddleston's Loki would have actually survived. Is that he didn't even try and go up against. I can't tell you the amount of people who have actually complained about the way Loki went out in Infinity War, believing that Loki would never have tried to go up against Thanos with like a bar knife or something. He never would have tried something as feeble or as kind of weak-minded as that. He would have actually tried something smarter and trickier and cleverer and everything. So the amount of people who just refuse to believe that that's how the writers take him out. And then, but this one, he didn't. This version, he literally didn't even believe that a blade would be strong enough or formidable enough against the Mad Titan himself. So he projected a version of himself that the Mad Titan fell for, and then he actually hid among the debris and then floated in space. So then, that makes you wonder. So he lived through it. So I think, technically, because of his age, his age is a sign that he's actually lived long enough to become like Richard E. Grant, to actually look like Richard E. Grant. So then, I think in that sense, that's also pretty good casting too. That is also pretty good casting because I think you could definitely pass Richard E. Grant off as an older version of Tom Hiddleston's Loki. You could definitely pass him off as that kind of having lived that long and having grown older and visibly Asian. I think so. I think that's pretty top notch casting. But his story as a whole too, so he floats in space, but then afterwards too, so then for him, the MCU ran as canonically as it does. Infinity War happened, Endgame happened, and everything else happened. But then after him, he tried different things, but then he eventually realized that wherever he goes, death follows. Wherever he goes, death and pain and destruction and all these different things actually follow. I think it's actually what Mobius mentioned to him in the first episode. You are a tool of destruction. Wherever you go, chaos and pain and everything follow you because of what you do. So then so I mean, with the classic Loki, I can't tell if he actually tried different things, but then stuff still happened and stuff still went wrong, or if he actually did do things his way, but then stuff still happened. But either way, he figured out that truth. And then after that, he pulled a Luke Skywalker. And he exiled himself, and he just kind of separated himself from the rest of kind of intergalactic civilization. And then after a while, he grew lonely. He literally, I think that is also like a great testament to his character too. Like, he grew lonely. Like he exiled himself because of the fact that, you know, people around him get hurt and stuff when he tries to do something good or do something like nice and stuff. And whatever he tries to do, he, you know, like things eventually end up going wrong. But then, you know, exiling himself for too long wasn't the answer either. He actually ended up still wanting to connect with someone, still wanting to be with someone, and then he thought about, you know, if Thor missed him, if his own brother missed him, if anyone else who ever knew him missed him. So then once he then went out in search of his freedom, that's when he became a variant. His Nexus event was literally trying to find people again. His Nexus event was trying to find his brother, trying to find people who missed him and who knew him and who connected him again. Like, that was his. Like, that is just that is honestly just fucked up. Like whoever's in charge of the TVA deciding, nope, Loki needs to be alone. He needs to. He needs to actually do these things and then realize that he's the cause of them, and then he needs to go into exile forever. But then if he ever actually tries to go back and find people again, and actually goes back to, you know, rekindle any long lost connections, then that's when we take him. That's when, you know, we need to teach him a lesson that he needs to be alone in order to understand, you know, how damaging he really is. Like, it's just screwed up. It's just screwed up. So yeah, that was him. And then I think the subtitles, I think, for the other guy with the actual kind of like other variation of Mjolnir, like he hit, like, I think that when he spoke, the subtitles said boastful Loki, and he definitely did seem kind of boastful too. He definitely did seem somewhat boastful. Like, I can't remember what his one was. He mentioned something. I can't remember what his Nexus event was. I think. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, he mentioned he vanquished Captain America and Iron Man. He vanquished Cap and Iron Man, and then apparently he collected his prize, which was all 6 Infinity Stones. And he said prize, which makes me wonder, like did he seek out the stones himself, or did someone offer him the 6 Infinity Stones in exchange for killing Captain America and Iron Man? So I don't know. I don't know how that would work, either how he killed them, or like, you know, how that went down. Because then he's Loki. So I wonder if he actually did kill all of the Avengers. Because then I think that would then make more sense. That would then make more sense. That would then make more sense if he kills all 6 of the Avengers. Then he gets 6 Infinity Stones, 1 Infinity Stone for each Avenger. So then that would be a hell of a contract. So then I wonder if he actually did seek them out himself. Maybe he sought them out, and then the Avengers found out, and then they tried to stop him, so he killed them, and then he continued on the search, and then he actually found the Infinity Stones there. But then he only mentioned Cap and Iron Man. He only mentioned them. So yeah, I can't help but wonder if the Avengers were a thing, or if he vanquished the others beforehand, and then Cap and Iron Man were the ones who actually lasted longer, or maybe if they were the more formidable ones. But either way, he killed them and stuff. So then yeah, that was a hell of a story. And then yeah, Gator Loki is honestly the best. He's the best out of all of them. He's the best. I think him and Sylvie are my favorite ones. Like, Gator Loki and Sylvie are my favorite ones. And then, you know, Loki and the other Lokis come in at close kind of seconds and thirds and fourths and what have you. But Gator Loki, I really wish we could see more of it. I really wish we could see more of Gator Loki. It's amazing. I think I love that. I think I love the way that Loki on the one hand, it's like, you know, he accepts it, but then it's also, on the other hand, it's like it shocks him just how willing he is to accept that a variant of him is literally an alligator. Even Mobius being like, you know, we've pruned a lot of Lokis, but I don't remember there ever being an alligator. Like, that seems like something you would remember, like an alligator Loki, and it's like how an alligator Loki would even come into existence, like what his backstory would be. Because then, I feel like because it's in the MCU where a lot of wacky stuff has happened before, I feel like, you know, that doesn't really need explaining. It's just like, you know, oh, this is just how things are, so deal with it. So I feel like that it's just one way to look at it. But you're like a Gator Loki, you know, and he's very feisty too. He's very, very feisty. He immediately he will not hesitate to actually chomp off your hand. He will not hesitate, as he did to President Loki. He will not hesitate to chomp off your hand. And I think boastful Loki mentioned that that Gator Loki's next event was eating the wrong neighbor's cat. Apparently, eating the wrong neighbor's cat, and then that ticked it off. That ticked Gator Loki off, and he fullback and everything. So yeah, Gator Loki is just honestly the best. He is the absolute best, and I really hope we see more of him. You know, I mean, I don't know if he's going to end up popping up in Multiverse of Madness. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. But I don't. I mean, I don't know. But he's also the only him and Kid Loki, Gator Loki and Kid Loki are now the only ones left too. So yeah, but Gator Loki, just he's amazing. He is amazing. So and he has like a cute he has like the smallest kind of horn helmet of all of them. But he's so fast and so nimble, and he just moves, and he's and he does in fact communicate through his growls and his own gator noises and everything, and they just understand him. So that's the thing. But yeah, I think yeah, because if Loki can exist as an alligator too, because then it's not even said to be an illusion. It's not even referenced to be like an illusion or just like a way that maybe because then you wonder maybe if he tried to disguise himself as an alligator but then it got stuck and then maybe the TVA actually captured him but then he got stuck as an alligator so now he can't change back. Maybe that would be a thing, but no, it's like there's been no reference whatsoever as to whether or not this gator thing is an illusion or if it's actually his true form. So I think I'm just gonna say it's probably his true form. It's probably really like an alligator version of Loki. So then where it comes from. Is there a Gator Thor? Is there a Gator Odin? Is there a Gator Laufey? Is there does it come from a timeline where every living creature is a Gator? Or maybe it comes from like a race of Gator, or maybe it comes from a timeline where where Jotuns are Gators, or maybe where Asgardians are Gators or something. So I don't know. I do not know. But Gator Loki is just, from the moment we saw it in the post-credit scene for the last episode, it's just that was what the majority of people were looking forward to. And now in this one, it doesn't disappoint. This episode did not disappoint with the Gator Loki thing. So, they really kind of, paid off on that end. But I think, in the same way, I really wish we will, I really hope we will actually see more of it. And then we can actually see more of it making a comeback and interacting with the timeline even further, so yeah, Gator Loki, just incredible. And there were Easter eggs. There were so many Easter eggs in this, and they were such blink and you'll miss it moments, and they were just such I was actually looking at the screen and writing it down. Every time I looked up, I would just catch a glimpse of an Easter egg. I am so sure there's a bunch I missed out on. I'm so sure that there were a bunch of other Easter eggs that I missed out on either because I didn't recognize them or because I actually didn't. I was looking down, taking it down instead of actually seeing the screen and everything. So yeah, but the ones I did catch, I caught a few. I caught Thanos Copter. The Thanos Copter. There's there's a variant. I think that must have been a variation thing. There's actually a ruined Thanos Copter. I think chopped in half or something. One end in one place and then 10 feet away there was another the actual the part of it with Thanos written as a Thanos Copter. They made that thing that the Thanos Copter is canon in the MCU. There was a Thanos Copter. There was indeed a Thanos Copter and everything. So that's cool. I think I'm not fully knowledgeable on exactly what the Thanos Copter is, but I've seen it in the comics. I've seen the actual kind of panels, kind of screenshot from the comics of Thanos in his own helicopter. I mean, Thanos having a helicopter in itself is just such a bizarre concept. Dude has one of the biggest ships in the entire universe, and apparently in the comics he has an actual kind of life-size kind of Earth built, or Earth-size, he has a helicopter that looks and functions in the same way that the human-made kind of helicopters do. So for whatever reason he has a copter, and I think it might be a Deadpool thing. I think it would make more sense for it to be a Deadpool thing because Deadpool comics, I think Deadpool is where is one of the places that the wacky stuff would come out of. So I think it would make a lot more sense for Thanos to actually have some kind of Thanos copter in a Deadpool comic or in a Deadpool story than it would for him to suddenly show up in Avengers. And can you imagine if at the end of Infinity, at the end of Ragnarok in that post credit scene, if instead of that giant ship you just hear blades whirring and you just see the helicopter. if he just showed up in a giant helicopter instead of his actual ship, just how much less intimidating. If he showed up in a ship, noticeably smaller than the actual statesman itself. If he actually showed up in a helicopter and stuff, that would just the way that would change everything if he had an actual helicopter throughout all the movies that he's been in. So yeah, Thanos Copter is a thing, and I think I remember people saying like his like the way that his blade functions too made them made the way his blade functions in Endgame, like the way he spins it, because I think he doesn't spin it by actually using his hands. I think he actually has like a button on the handle where he spins it, and then the blade itself spins around. So then people thought, oh, like that, like that's like reminiscent of the way like the actual Thanos copter helicopter blades work too. So then like that made people think of the actual Thanos copter. But now we know, you know, somewhere like from one of the timelines in the MCU, maybe from maybe you know, predating the Sacred Timeline. You know, in one of the older time, in the actual previous multiverse, there was a Thanos who had a Thanos copter. So then now, yeah, or maybe even in one of the new Sacred Timeline variations, like, you know, Thanos actually went to Earth and he picked up a helicopter, and then the Timekeeper was like, nope, you get your big ship, and that is well enough. So then they pruned him and they sent his Thanos his copter here. So Thanos copter is a thing. Thanos copter is indeed a thing. And then I think there was one I just about caught it because of the yellowing on the sides, and I think it looked like an enlarged version of the Yellow Jacket helmet. So then that is intriguing too, because I think it's like the Yellow Jacket suit. It's never really gone big. Like the only actual like suit like that functions that way that we've seen going big is the Ant-Man suit. Ant-Man can go Ant-Man, and he can also go Giant Man. So that's the only version we've seen. But this one was an enlarged version of the Yellow Jacket suit, and that makes me wonder, like, you know, that has to be a variation too, and that could be one where. But he was the one who wore the Yellow Jacket, and he never went big. He had like life size, and then he had actually going small and everything. So I think this variation, maybe his like that variation was actually him discovering that he could go big as well, and him trying to go big, but then the Timekeeper saying no, and then, you know, him being pruned and stuff like that. So then he was sent there, and then that helmet is probably all that's left of him and stuff. So that was cool. And then I think that there was another one where it was like it was Mjolnir was in the ground, like as the camera panned like through the ground, through the soil and everything. There were like a bunch of different things buried in the ground, and one of them was actual Mjolnir, like the Mjolnir we recognize from the actual Thor movies, with the actual smaller, more concise kind of hammer and the actual wooden handle and everything. So there's a version of Mjolnir that's just been buried underground, so that's fun. And I think there was another one that looked like a flying saucer, like not reminiscent of any actual alien ship that I remember seeing from the movies, but it looked like an actual typical kind of textbook kind of flying saucer that you'd see in any kind of alien invasion kind of movie. So yeah, I mean, not to say, I think it wouldn't be unlikely that flying saucers would exist, but then like given the alien races we've seen in the MCU so far and the advancement of their technology, like, you know, like flying saucers are not like, you know, flying saucers is a lot more typical, it's a lot more textbook, and it's a lot more kind of like, you know, recognizable. But then we see that, you know, these alien races actually are advanced enough to actually build giant ships of all these different designs and constructs and everything. So yeah, like a flying saucer was surprising. The main point was that this was the void. Like, this is where variants are sent when they get pruned, and this is where stuff gets sent to be destroyed. Alioth, the giant cloud monster thing, is where, you know, like Alioth is the destroyer of variants. He's the destroyer of actual kind of. It's the destroyer of everything that gets pruned and everything. So yeah, I think So now, I mean, yeah, technically speaking, this is the second time Marvel has had a giant cloud monster. This is the second time. First one, I think you know what I'm talking about. First one being way back in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. We had Galactus coming up in the shape of a cloud and everything, and that didn't really satisfy too many people. I think people hoped that we'd actually see Galactus in his actual kind of humanoid form, as opposed to a cloud. But you know, what can you do? So that happened. But then now this one, Alioth, I think it looked like a bit like a mix between like a dinosaur and like a dragon skull, but then it was mostly like an actual fluid kind of cloud shape that just devoured and disintegrated everything in its path and everything. So, and it was very quick too. It was very quick. So, and then yeah, we had President Loki and his army. Oh my god, that scene was so chaotic. I think that scene was the pinnacle of chaotic we've had in this entire show so far. That was the most chaotic scene we've had. Loki initially trying to lead the kind of, you know, underground kind of throne room of the kid Loki, and then running into President Loki. So President Loki isn't what Loki himself becomes in this show. It is literally another variation of Loki. So if Loki tries to become president, presumably on Earth, if he tries to become president on Earth, then that's a Nexus event, and then the TVA captures him. So that is like another variation. So it's also another Tom Hiddleston. It's another Tom Hiddleston Loki that actually tries to become president, and he gets captured, and instead gets to kind of rule his army. So I mean, that's a whole different take on Loki trying to rule too. Like he actively tries to kickstart like a presidential campaign, and he instead of trying to be all medieval within, trying to get people to bow down and be subservient and actually swear some submission and do all that kind of stuff like he did in the first Avengers movie. Instead of being that kind of ruthless or that kind of dominant, like instead like this version tries to be a bit more actually tries to be a bit more political, and he actually tries to kickstart like some kind of presidential campaign. So I honestly can't help but wonder what his policies might have been, like what he would have actually tried to do, because he had like badges, he had like a whole suit and tie, he had like a whole attire and everything, he had a whole thing going on. So I can't help but wonder what his actual campaign would have been like in like Earth. Like I think it's like, because you can't wonder, would he have been like, I mean, question is like, I think. Yeah, like would he have been any better than actual human presidents? Would he have been any better than Earth's leaders? Because I kind of wonder, like, if the real kicker is that the Nexus event he caused was trying to actually become president, but then he actually, like, his campaign ended up going better. Maybe like his Nexus event, like what got him captured was him trying to be president. But then, ironically enough, he actually like his presidential campaign just maybe ended up actually being better than the vast majority of campaigns we've had. Like he actually ended up being a more supported and more loved kind of presidential kind of candidate than a lot of the human ones that have actually been elected. I really hope that was the actual kicker, that he actually ended up being that close to actually winning and being elected, but then the TVA comes in and screws everything up. So I can't help but wonder if that's actually the way things would have actually gone down for him. But he had that, and then he got pruned and sent to this place, and then he still managed to build himself up an army. So I think those other Lokis must have been. Were those other Lokis variants? I can't tell. I think it must have been. But I think they must have. I think they could have been, right? I feel like they could have been, but then I think with the fact that both Mobius and Sylvie, Sylvie is a Loki variant, but I think with the fact that Mobius was also sent here, I feel like like this isn't just meant this is meant to be a place where you go if you get pruned. It doesn't matter who you are. It really doesn't matter who you are, what variant you are, who you are, where you're from. None of that stuff matters. Like I think the most common inhabitants were Lokis and Loki variants, but pretty much anyone who got pruned. So I wonder if we could have seen the guy who got pruned. No, because I think the whole point is you survive by avoiding Alioth. You survive by avoiding Alioth and not getting cleaned up by him. So I think Classic Loki did say that like this is where variants who get pruned go to die. Like Alioth is the one who actually cleans up after the TVA. Like he actually destroys whatever gets pruned. So then I was wondering, so then by that logic, like should we not have seen the guy from the first episode who got pruned in front of Loki, or but then he would have probably been taken by Alioth pretty easily. So then this time it's not exclusive to Loki. It's it's most commonly inhabited by Loki variants, but then anyone who gets pruned gets sent to the end of time, to this void, to where everything goes to die eternally. And everything. So yes, I think it's that bit. But I think the question, I'm gonna maybe say that the other the army was still Loki's. I think some of them might have been wearing horns. I think they actually could have been, but I think it's just like for convenience's sake, it was just literally extras kind of hired to play all these different Loki variants without really delving into too much backstory. Because I think we got backstory enough with all the other kind of more prominent Loki variants, but they were the important ones, and then the army was just the army. So. Yeah, but that scene was just so chaotic, with boastful Loki betraying Kid Loki, and then him being betrayed by the President Loki, and then President Loki being betrayed by his own army, and then just everyone betraying each other. Like even Loki in the background being like, "Jesus, you guys are you guys really are me. You guys really are me. You're even stabbing yourselves in the back, only to be stabbed by yourself in the back 20 seconds later." So he was there, and then the alligator Loki got pissed off, and then he. Ran up and jumped up onto Loki's hand, and he actually bit off. He actually bit off President Loki's hand. So yeah, and then that ignited the whole fight, and then he got shoved into a popcorn machine, and then things happened, and it was like a whole thing, it was a whole fight thing. And then boastful Loki got left behind. Boastful Loki actually got left behind, and then it was just classic Loki, Kid Loki, and then Gator Loki too. So after what boastful Loki did, I don't think they'd actually want to keep him around, because if he was that willing to kind of betray him in exchange for an army and leadership kind of rights, then there's no telling what else he would give up. So yeah, that throne room fight was easily the most chaotic thing that's actually come out of the show, and I love it, and I loved it. We had Mobius showing up in a car, so I didn't think of it instantly, but I think looking back at that, I think it's a pretty kind of like like on the nose kind of nod to be like, yeah, Mobius is in a car. Mobius is driving a car as fast as he can through the graveyard that Sylvie has landed in the bus, and he's landing through, and he's actually offering her a ride, and then he's driving as fast as he can back out, and again he's trying to drive all lightning speed and everything. I don't know how his actual speech from the movie goes. I can't remember how it goes, but either way, I feel like that is like a somewhat more kind of subtle nod, like yeah, Mobius, because the theories that people had were like because so Loki gets into a timeline that like. Loki gets into a timeline where he meets his variant, and then maybe when Mobius got pruned, he got sent to a timeline where he met his variant. So then his variants would just be people he's played in other movies before. So he'd be like the cowboy dude from Night at the Museum, and then he'd be Lightning Queen from Cars, and then he'd be I think there was someone else too. There was actually someone else, and then but his variants would literally just be people he's played throughout time who somehow became variants of their own accord, and then that was like the. I mean, I think it felt incredibly unlikely to happen, but I think it still felt like people would be like this would be the wackiest thing and the coolest thing that Marvel could do with this whole kind of variant concept, but no, like they all get into the same place, and if they're lucky, they meet other variants like them. But then if they're not, then they don't. But then I think this was the way that Disney decided to do it, like actually putting Mobius in a car and having him drive as fast as he could to actually get himself in, and then get him and Sylvie out, and then doing that stuff. So that was like I felt like it was a cool, but like a subtle but cool kind of nod to him having been Lightning McQueen. I think maybe some people see that, maybe some people won't. But either way, I think it's cool either way. It's cool either way, and he still kind of did his part. But yeah, Mobius's chat with the other three Lokis, Mobius's chat with classic Loki and Kid Loki and Gator Loki, like him telling them I think, and especially I think especially it's like that kind of conversation too, like the dynamic between three different variants who have all been pruned by the TVA, and then them now talking to like a former agent of the TVA who has discovered the truth himself and everything. So it's like that kind of dynamic that's kind of really interesting to see, and even Mobius mentioning that and it's like even classic Loki being like really you would turn on your own you would turn on your own people and then the agency you devoted your entire life to just like that. And he's like well it's never too late to change. It's really never too late to change. It's never too late, especially once you realize the truth, and especially once you realize what you really want to do and who you really want to be. As long as you're not hurting anyone. I think that is the point of this show too. That is the point of this series too, to show that Loki is really not an inherently bad person, and I think, and honestly, it reminds me of this. I mean, it kind of reminds me of this quote from The Good Place, where it's like I can't remember exactly how it goes. It's Michael. I think his name is Michael. I'm pretty sure his name is Michael. Pretty sure yeah, I'm pretty sure his name is Michael. Like the dude with the white hair and glasses, like him telling the judge in that show, people thrive and people improve when they're in an environment where they're surrounded by people who actually encourage them to improve and to grow. People grow, people become better, and they improve when they're actually given the resources and the space and the actual ability to do so. So then how can we hold it against them when they don't, when they're not given that? How can we hold it against someone when they're not actually shown that they can be better, that they can change, that they can decide to do good and to be good? Because that was the whole point of that show too, was to show that there's no being good and bad is not as black and white as you think. People can the whole point of that was to actually redeem especially redeeming characters like Eleanor, who started off seemingly bad and really kind of obnoxious and conceited and really arrogant and stuff, but then she over time changes and she actually understands the actual true meaning to being good is actually learning from your mistakes and learning to be better and actually treating people better and actually learning to do that too. So it's not just actually being good right from the get-go, it's actually learning who you are and who you want to be and trying to be good that way too. So I think with this scene too, especially Mobius telling them it's never too late to change, and it's always especially it's okay to admit what you did was wrong, and it's okay to admit that that what you've done is wrong, and as long as that leads you down the path where you try and be good and you actively try and be better, then in the end that is pretty much what matters. So that scene was really, really cool to see. And I think that is also like that's also like a stuff scene definitely more applicable to the classic Loki too, because then what the classic Loki did in order to try and be better was to actually try and isolate himself, because he found himself to be this kind of magnet and this kind of catalyst for chaos and destruction wherever he went. So he thought, the only way to actually stop that from happening and to stop people around him from getting hurt by his actions or whatever, then was to actually isolate himself and stuff. But then after that, he started thinking a bit more about himself and what he wanted and who he wanted to be. But then by the time, and then when he tried to change that, the timekeepers literally said no, and then he became a variant. So it's a very, I think this series as a whole is a very, very interesting exploration of character and actual kind of motivations and like the nature of goodwill and the nature of actual kind of compassion and trying to be good and everything. So it's really well done. It's really well done. And then again, heartwarming stuff. So very heartwarming stuff with Loki and Sylvie. My heart, oh god, they shared a blanket. I mean, again, I think I think Sylvie questioning whether or not it was actually a blanket made sense, because it didn't look as fluffy as a blanket. Blankets usually look fluffy and a bit more furry, but this one looked a bit more like a thin, like a tablecloth or like some kind of other kind of something. It didn't look. I think it looked kind of maybe cozy, but not warm and fluffy as you'd expect a blanket to be. But either way, he shared it. Either way, he conjured it up for himself, and then he actually shared it and stuff. So that was cool. But then that whole scene was just the most heartwarming stuff of Loki and Sylvie talking and everything. And I think them talking about what they'd want to do as well, like what they would do after taking down whoever created the TVA and after taking down the real threat, and what they would do, then like what they would go back to and everything, and what they want to do, and then even like Sylvie saying even Sylvie saying that she like how could she how could she know for sure if she could actually trust Loki, and then he wouldn't betray her, and then Loki being like I've betrayed anyone I've ever loved, but this one time, now he is a changed man. Now he is a changed man, and he's become better because of this. And now he refuses to actually betray anyone else who actually ever trusts him again. Because now he realizes the actual value of trust. Because I think it's like a trust coming from people who actually who know your history and still don't judge you upon it, and still don't actually kind of use that against you anyway. But then now it's also like him understanding the value of actual friendship compared to actual forced kind of subservience or forced kind of submission or whatever. Like Sylvie and Mobius being people who actually now at this point do actually want to be with Loki because he's an actual he has the capacity to be a good person. He actually has the capacity to understand other people's needs and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And I think it's like that kind of. I think what it definitely feels like they're going for with this series so far is definitely more of a friendship with Loki and Sylvie, and I think that honestly just makes sense. I don't think it should really stop them from I personally don't think it should really stop people from actually shipping them, because I think people shipping Loki and Sylvie has been a thing, and as people will, people have different opinions on it. Some people are vehemently against it, and other people are like, this is totally fine, it's okay, it's I think again, like the main issue seems to be the fact that they are both kind of I guess biologically the same person, or they are just identical, near enough identical copies of one another and everything. So that's the thing. And then people are just so quick. Again, people are very quick to jump on the whole incest kind of bandwagon and everything. So I think with this one, I think it's I honestly don't. I think again, I've made my thoughts clear on this before. I personally don't think it actually is applicable as incest, but I think everyone has I guess everyone has a different perspective. But either way, I think the more focal point is the fact that the one person Loki gets along with most eloquently, besides from Mobius. With Mobius, it's like a rocky road, because again, he's a TVA agent. Loki is a variant, so it's like a very, very a rocky road there, as a given. But then with Loki and Sylvie, there's a lot more slow burn in the form of mistrust from the get go, because they both know that they are variants of each other. They both know each other, so they both know that trickery is pretty much in their blood, and trickery and deceit and illusions are in their blood. So then that's just how they get by. They get by tricking people and actually, getting what they want that way and stuff too. So then, because of that, there's a bit more of a slow burn. But then it's also like, then they actually slowly grow to love each other, because of that they understand what they've been through. They understand why they've done what they've done, and why they've had to do what they've done, and they kind of understand that again, like, they understand that they are not inherently bad people, but things have happened and they've done shit. So what can you do? But yeah, so then I think the director herself, and I think so, like just several people involved with the show have talked about how, like, the focal point of the series is actually showing Loki achieving self-love in, like, a very, very kind of more kind of peculiar and more kind of extravagant kind of way, like him achieving self-love through literally bonding with, and like another kind of time variant of himself, like pretty much like essentially his like doppelganger and stuff. So it's definitely like a more interesting analysis, in the sense that, like, it kind of goes to show that, like Loki. I think it's like, because I think it's one way. It's one way to try and get him to understand what his future is as a result of his actions, through showing him the tapes, like in episode 1, where he showed him his future, like Ragnarok being destroyed, and him being killed, and his mother being killed, and everything else like that, and his father dying and everything. And it's one thing to show him his future and to get him to actually decide who he wants to be and what he wants to do, but then it's another thing entirely to actually have him meet another version of himself that's gone through so much more, that's gone through so much pain, and in like an arguably more torturous way too. Like with this Loki, like with Loki, he's kind of like had his own past of being tricked, like being made to believe that he's worthy of the throne, but then believing he's a Jotun, and then being treated differently because of what his skill sets are and because of what his mentality is and all that kind of stuff. But with Sylvie, she had her life taken away from her on the basis of her like trying to do something for herself, and her not even knowing what the actual true next event was, but because of her existence itself was seen as like a next event. So then, as a child, she was taken by the timekeepers, and then by the TVA even, and then she's been on the run ever since. She saw a temp and she's been on the run ever since. She spent years literally growing up into an adult woman, and she's spent all that time trying to get her life back, but also trying to take down the people who took it away from her in the first place. I think with her, like I think with her, there's a smidge more innocence, because of the fact that she never grew up inherently bad. She was just sitting in her room one day playing with Valkyrie and other toys and everything, and then all of a sudden she's literally kidnapped. She was literally kidnapped. Because I mean, technically everyone is, but then with her actually being a child, it's like it becomes that much more emphasis on the actual kidnapping. So yeah, with her, it's like it's literally her trying to get her life back and trying to get revenge for having had it taken away in the first place. But with Loki, it's like Loki is like he lives a life trying to garner attention and trying to garner some sense of power and control through all these different tricks and things, and then he becomes who he is, and then this whole series kind of flips him on his head and makes him rethink everything else and puts it all in a more kind of interesting kind of light. So yes, I think because of that, the way Loki and Sylvie get along is that much more kind of passionate and that much more affectionate and that much more kind of interesting to watch. And it's like, again, to me at this point, I really don't care whether or not they actually get together either. I like they could stay friends and just be really kind of affectionate, friend variants of each other, and that would be fine to me. If they did get together, then I guess so be. I'm really I personally I don't think I'd be bothered by it in the way that most people are. I would accept it, but it's like, it's not in a way that I so badly need it to happen. But it's like, what, it would kind of make it like if he actively wants to pursue a relationship with Sylvie, then I guess that is actually something I can actually kind of watch and just see how it goes. But so far, their dynamic, their friendship so far, their relationship so far has been that interesting to watch. It's just them being together in any shape or form. It's just it's actually entertaining to watch, and it provides for some great character content, and it provides for a great story, and it really pushes the series forward in the way that it's meant to. So that much I can actually appreciate. For neither of them, I think up until now, romance has never really. I think it's because the movies themselves haven't really given them attention in that way before. Because I think it's not very often you think of the villains themselves ever having any sense of romance. Thanos never had any kind of romance. He was never married or anything. I think I think it's the way that these stories go too. It's always the heroes who have friends and families and loved ones, and even their wives and husbands and girlfriends and boyfriends and all these different things, but then it's like the villains are kind of passed off as these people who are unworthy of love, or who never actually have, who never mention a relationship that they have, or never mention anyone like, who very rarely, they very rarely mention people that they've lost. Like in some cases, it is more evident. Like with Zemo, he had a family, he had a wife and son that he lost, and in some cases it is evident, but in other cases, more often than not, villains are people who seem to be void of any kind of love or any compassion, but they also seem to be void of any kind of capacity for a relationship. Like they also seem to be void of any kind of capacity to feel love or to feel that kind of attraction to anyone. So then, because of that, it's like it's so much easier for writers to actually not have to give villains any sense of like an actual love story that you can actually relate to, or that can make you actually understand the villain that much. Also, I think because of that, it's been easier for people to accept Loki not having any kind of romantic partners in the past. So then, because of that, like this series is bringing that side of him into a whole new life, and especially with this with episode 3 actually revealing him as bisexual too. It's like, I mean, some people then end up questioning, oh, is he going to get with a guy? Is he going to get with a girl? Is he going to get with someone else? Or like, what's going to happen? And then there's the obvious kind of biphobia that comes with that too, which is just really shitty. But because then people have been actually asking like, oh, is he going to get with Sylvie then, or is he going to get with Mobius? And it's like, it doesn't really matter. He's bi. He could really end up with with either one of them, and it would still be okay, because that is the whole point of being bi. So that's like the whole thing. I think Loki and Mobius was the first one that came along, and then people kind of easily rushed into kind of. Not even rushed into. I think people definitely kind of jumped onto that and like actually kind of actively kind of chased and encouraged that, and it was good to see people actually being able to finally see him kind of being with someone and connecting with someone in that way. And I think like a lot of the time, some people kind of prefer not to have it be romantic, but I think romance is there. And for some people, romance isn't even really a thing either. Some people really aren't interested in romance, and then that's like not an option for them either. But then it's like a whole spectrum. It's a spectrum, and it's like a whole kind of like a wide kind of range of kind of conversation to have. So it really kind of depends a lot on your perspectives and your kind of lived experiences and how you relate to it. And for some people, again, because of that, for some people it's important, for other people it's not. So it's a whole different thing. So whether for some people it's Loki and Mobius, for other people it's Loki and Sylvie, for other people it's Loki and no one, just Loki by himself. So I mean, we see what happened with Loki and himself. It's Richard E. Grant. Like Richard E. Grant is the one we get where Loki is by himself, and then finally once he does actually try and rekindle old flames and old connections, then the TVA decides, okay, now he's a variant, so let's go and capture him. And also because of that too, like him seeking connection is what makes him a variant too. Again, that is super duper fucked up. Like with Richard E. Grant, him trying to classic Loki, him trying to actually rekindle connections turns him into a variant, and then obviously like the biggest Nexus event, the biggest kind of most kind of prominent Nexus event that they faced, that the TVA has faced, that's actually shocked them, is the connection between Loki and Sylvie. Loki having a connection, I think maybe with anyone, because I think classic Loki's connection to Thor being what makes him miss him, like him missing Thor and him missing his family and him wanting to rekindle that connection is what makes him a variant. But with Loki, it's like him and Sylvie have from their own lives, like they have their own specific connection that then turns into an Nexus. So I think it's like in general, it's also kind of Loki seeking a connection with anyone, like seeking an actual like a non-harmful, genuine, affectionate connection with someone that makes him a variant. But then for this story, it's actually Loki being infatuated with himself, and actually not even himself, actually being connected to and actually being affectionate with another version of himself. This actually makes him there. So Loki wanting to feel love, Loki wanting to love, and Loki wanting to be with someone in any possible way, whether it's familiar, whether it's platonic, whether it's romantic. That is what makes him a variant. And again, it's just I think that is exactly what could make him so harmful too. Actually making him believe that that he can't ever possibly feel love, because then that will actually go against what the TVA and the whoever's behind them actually dictates what is right. That is a super harmful notion to live by. The fact that you can never love anyone, and you can never receive love from you can never receive love from anyone because of what you do. But then what you do is because you then find out that you also can't love anyone without actually risking becoming a variant according to whomever's rules. So God, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot to take in, and it's a whole lot to actually think about. But it's also like a super duper kind of dark way to actually analyze Loki's character too. And yeah, it's just wow, just wow. And then yeah, I think the final plan comes into play. The Lokis and everyone are actually finally coming to fruition to actually to actually use Goliath to actually get to the real masterminds of the TVA and everything. So yeah, so then Mobius takes the TemPad and he goes back to the TVA. He actually he says he's gonna burn it down. I think that is an iconic, like, I think like an icon, slightly iconic, but also like an ironic switch of lines too. Because I think if you remember, like the first TV spot that was released for the actual Marvel Disney Plus shows, they actually showed a clip of Loki being like, I'm gonna burn this place to the ground. He was wearing the TVA jumpsuit as well, the variant jumpsuit, and he said, I'm gonna burn this place to the ground. And now this show has Mobius saying it instead. So like, so now they've kind of switched it around. Well, I mean, I don't know if they switched around because I think maybe it could have been their intention from the beginning, but then, at least for the sake of actual release and for the sake of final kind of viewing purposes, they've actually switched it around. And so now Loki and Sylvie are going to find out who exactly created the TVA and what they want and what they're up to. And then I think for Mobius stuff, like I think for Mobius it makes more sense. For Mobius, I think it makes more sense for Loki to be the one to want to actually discover the truth and find out what the real power is and who's behind all this and who's doing this manipulating and actually taking people's lives from them. And then for Mobius too, Mobius being one of those victims for having having had his life taken away from him, but also actually having his entire kind of life switched upside down and actually, being given this false kind of life to live and not being allowed to actually be who he is. And now he wants to burn that place down to the ground himself. He wants to actually burn the TVA down himself. So that is iconic. That is pretty damn iconic. So yeah, and then even what he said, like, I'm gonna burn it down to the ground. And he said, thanks for the spark. Thanks for actually giving me the willpower, the motivation, the strength to actually do this and to actually take my life back and to get me that damn jet ski. The finale had better have Mobius riding a damn jet ski. Also, help me God, Marvel will have some answers for some questions to answer. But yeah, I'm hoping Mobius gets to go back to Earth and he actually gets to buy his jet ski and he gets to ride it for all eternity and just enjoy it to his heart's fulfillment. But yeah, I'm gonna enjoy seeing exactly how Mobius actually works to take down the TVA in the next episode, so that'll be fun. That'll be very fun. So he's back there, and he'll probably have to face off against Ravonna too. So that'll be not so fun. Classic Loki's ending. Oh my God, he is so powerful. He was so powerful. He literally. I thought he was rebuilding New York. I like seeing him casting his illusion. And actually rebuilding buildings until I saw like that giant kind of the one that looks like organ pipes, like the main kind of actual kind of kind of royal family kind of place that the Thor and Odin and Frigga all lived in and Loki lived in, that kind of it looks like giant organ pipes actually lined up on one against each other. And until I saw that, I thought he was actually rebuilding New York, and I thought the Avengers was going to pull up someone or something, but no, he was illusion projecting Asgard in its entirety. He was rebuilding and projecting an entire city. He was projecting an entire city, pretty much the main city of Asgard itself. So that is an entire level of power that is just uncharted as of yet. So that is just incredible. And that was his glorious purpose too. His glorious purpose was to actually use that to actually help the other Loki escape. He casted the ultimate distraction to actually allow Loki and Sylvie to actually escape, and that was his purpose. Actually helping his variants find their way to the true power and to take down the TVA once and for all. So then no other Lokis throughout time would ever be captured and everything. So that was his glorious purpose. That was Richard E. Grant. Richard E. Grant was incredible in this episode. He was actually so awesome to see as like a variant of Loki, and even playing classic Loki as well. He really rocked that garb, and I mean, you can't help but look at the garb as as a form of cosplay too. Because I think especially because I think especially nowadays and in the movies themselves, the suits always look so kind of high quality and pristine, and sometimes armored and other times it's really high textured. But then with with versions like the classic Loki one, it looks a lot more simpler and a lot more kind of like more vibrant, but still kind of somewhat simplistic with its material. So with this one, it did look somewhat like an actual kind of like a cosplay suit, but then he actually still made it work, and he still used it to his advantage, and it still looked somewhat cool. But his powers coming into play really kind of actually cemented him as like an actual Loki variant. Like his powers actually coming into full play really pushed him forward and actually really lifted him up. So he went out like an actual he went out like a Loki. He went out like an actual Loki. He survived. He survived Thanos. He lived this long. He lived pretty much all of his life that he was meant to, and he ended up and he died saving himself. He literally died saving himself. He died saving himself. He died saving Loki and Sylvie. So props to him. And then of course Loki himself. Loki unlocked enchantment. Sylvie helped Loki unlock his own enchantment. So I mean, we've seen him somewhat exploring some powers here. Like I think he never used the blast before. Like in episode 3, he actually used the kind of hex blast that he used, like similar to Scarlet Witch's. So he unlocked that one pretty early on. I think. Well, I mean, we don't know that he unlocked it, but maybe he just used it for the first time, and then he even has powers of like levitation too. He has powers of like levitation and actual controlling objects in the air and everything, so that's been cool. But now he has leveled up. He's leveled up to level whatever, and he has unlocked enchantment. So Sylvie and Loki cooperatively enchanted the Alliance while it was distracted, and actually managed to open up the gateway and actually get through to where they are. So that was super cool too. Like seeing Loki unlock a new power for him. So then that will. I mean, maybe that might come in handy for Multiverse of Madness too. So then I'm hoping that doesn't end up making Sylvie in any way kind of redundant. Like I mean, I'm hoping Sylvie might come back if there is actually like an actual important part for her to play in the Multiverse of Madness. Because then technically this would mean that Sylvie is the reason Loki actually gets into Multiverse of Madness to begin with, because she's the one by his side actually helping him uncover the truth and discovering the truth by herself too. So she's already pushing him forward by this much, actually helping them both get forward this much. So then hopefully if Loki does get if this is how Loki does get into Multiverse of Madness, then Sylvie is also respected in that kind of role, in that position. So hopefully she gets to go along for the ride too. But they both made it. They both made it to the end, and they walked through that gateway. And I think it looks amazing too. Like on the other side, it actually looks like another dimension with like a starry kind of galaxy sky out in space, and like a floating kind of like a base of some kind. So that is, yeah. So I mean, I think it could. I think it could still be the Timekeepers. I feel like it could still really be the Timekeepers. I think it could be in the sense that I mean, honestly, I've heard people saying that Ms. Minutes is kind of sus, and I mean, I think it's because of the fact that we haven't seen her. I think we haven't seen Miss Minutes, and I think people saying that Ms. Minutes is kind of sus right now makes me feel like, oh my god, what if the plot twist is it's actually Ms. Minutes? Like, like not even in like, oh, it's like the actual holographic clock, but maybe whoever is behind Ms. Minutes too, like Ms. Minutes could be based off of someone else who is actually exactly like her, and then instead of the Timekeepers being the decoys, instead of the Timekeepers being the decoys or the conduits for communication, maybe Ms. Minutes is the conduit, because Ms. Minutes is like an actual AI / recording. So then she is also the one who actually gave off that message in the first episode too. Like she's the one who actually knows the in-depth story of the multiversal war and the Timekeepers themselves and the Nexus events and everything else, and she knows what is and what must never be and what cannot happen and everything. So I do wonder it's like whoever is behind the TVA also self-inserted themselves into the TVA in the form of Miss Minutes. I will, if that is actually if that is what the truth is, then I don't know what I'm gonna do, but yeah. So then whoever it is has the powers of a Timekeeper. Whoever it is has the powers of the Timekeepers. They've dictated that the Timekeepers themselves are the dictators of time and space and everything. So then, whoever it is has, if it's one person or maybe if it's more than one person, they have the powers of the Timekeepers, but then they don't call themselves the Timekeepers, like they don't exist as the Timekeepers themselves, like the Timekeepers are just maybe it's like another self-insert, so maybe the Timekeepers and Ms. Minutes are the two self-inserts of whoever's really behind all of this, and maybe they don't really call themselves the Timekeepers either, maybe they operate on another name or like another label, or like another kind of level of power, so It's all the things, yeah, and then Ms. Minutes is like another kind of self-insert that they created to actually help people within the TVA. Like, Ms. Minutes is how they monitor the TVA. Ms. Minutes could be how they actually monitor the TVA and actually how they actually get information through there, but then the timekeepers are just like the, like the TVA still, like the TVA cannot answer to Ms. Minutes, and then the TVA still actually need maybe some higher level of power or some kind of more mysterious kind of level of power that actually tells them what to do and when to do it. So then, because of that, the timekeepers are like those kind of conduits, like they are decoys in that sense too. Like, oh, this is how you know you're talking to us, but then Ms. Minutes is how we actually see through. Like Ms. Minutes is actually how they actually see into the TVA and see what's going on and how they can monitor everything. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a wild ride though. Next week is gonna be the wildest of rides, and it's gonna be a hell of a finale. And then I don't know what comes after Loki. Actually, I don't know because I think What If might be after Loki. I think What If might be. I think that is meant to come out this year. So I don't know. I don't know when though. I don't know if that's actually coming out anytime soon. But I think What If is another Marvel Disney Plus series meant to come out this year, so that'll be fun too. And then we had some interesting stuff with Ravonna too, with Judge Renslayer. So yeah, she is also. I didn't expect her to be so betrayed either. Like, she genuinely did not know. She genuinely did not know that the timekeepers weren't even the real timekeepers. Like the ones that she took, the timekeepers that she took, Loki and Sylvie too, were not the real ones. Like, they were just mindless androids. And then she herself also feels lied to. And I think it's a more twisty and more kind of it's a form of betrayal that I think we as an audience can maybe kind of laugh at and feel entertained by a bit more because Renslayer herself has arguably devoted even more of her life to the timekeepers and to the TVA, and she's devoted her life to the point where she's willing to prune any and all variants that come her way, and she's willing to actually do whatever it is she's been willing to do whatever it is the timekeepers tell her, and she has done whatever the timekeepers tell her. But now she realizes, but now she finds out that the people she's been answering to this whole time, and the people who she's believed knew all the answers this whole time, have all been fake. They've all been fake. They've all just been mindless androids, and they've all just been kind of these faceless kind of identities that she's been answering to. So she herself, I think she herself feels like she needs answers, but then at the same time, it's like she still. I think deep down she still has this kind of very now conflicting kind of devotion to the TVA, whereas she has a devotion because it's all she's known, it's all she's ever known this entire life, and she's fought to maintain that kind of stability for others. And she even said it doesn't even matter whether the timekeepers were fake or who they are or who they really are or where they come from, but what matters is that the TVA has stability because that's what she's fought for the entire time. So it's like an interesting, more entertaining form of actual kind of confusion and betrayal from her than this right now. So I am very curious as to where they take her character next season, especially after that fight with them, after that conversation with B-15 in the kind of in the lockup chamber in her office too. It's like, in the theater room as well. B-15 has come so far too. I think B-15 has had an incredibly surprising journey where she herself has gone from an actual devoted TVA agent to someone who actually helped Loki and Sylvie fight back against the timekeepers, because she unlocked her love. And it's not really surprising because if you steal someone's life from them and then give them a fake life, and then if you steal someone's life from them and then give them a fake life, then don't be surprised when they fight back once they actually do discover that they had that they had a life before and that they have the freedom to fight for that life before. So it's a bit of surprise mixed in with genuine admiration for B-15's now newfound passion for this and for the old life she used to live, and for this newfound passion for for actually getting their family back and everything. So with B-15, and now she even fully supports Sylvie too. She actually fully supports Sylvie, and she's like, you want answers because you want them. You're searching for answers because you want them. You're curious, and you want answers, and you just want to know that Sylvie. This has been her lifelong mission. Her entire life, from the moment the TVA kidnapped her, from the moment Renslayer kidnapped her as a TVA agent, Sylvie's mission has been to take down the TVA and to take down whoever's behind them too. So she actively needs to know who's behind this, just so that she can kill them. She doesn't even want to know why they're doing this, what they're doing, who they are. If she can take them out, then that takes the TVA out, and then all the variants can actually be freed, and they can return to their homes, and then she can actually reinstill some sense of freedom in all the people working there. So yeah, I have no idea who this kind of power is, as expected. I mean, people have theories, and I definitely look forward to actually hearing the theories. If you guys have any kind of theories or notions as to who you think this power could be, or what you think this power could be behind the TVA, then absolutely feel free to leave your comments below. I'd love to hear them. I would absolutely love to hear them. Actually, kind of take in some ideas and see what's what. But yeah, I guess we'll find out all in good time. We will find out all in good time. But that was a hell of an episode. That was a hell of an episode. So I really can't wait to see how this all culminates in the finale and how this leads into the multiverse of madness, and see who survives and who doesn't, and then how the TVA gets taken down, and how all the variants go back to living their past lives and everything, like the lives of freedom that they deserve and everything. So that'll be cool to see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. That is pretty much all I've got. So yeah, that was Loki season 1, episode 5. So as always, thank you guys so much for being here, for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on Marvel's Loki. Once again, the full-length reaction will be available on Patreon, so you can go check that one over there. That will be just as much fun. And yeah, again, keep an eye out for that Black Widow reaction coming later this week. That will be, I'll try and have that up as soon as I can. Because I haven't really done like a movie reaction in quite a while or something. I'm hoping I can get that up ASAP, but that will be cool too. So I'll see you guys for that one too. But yeah, that is it. So I will see you guys next time.